Okay. Hello, thank you for watching. I watched a debate recently of Kent Hovind versus a Dr. Weisenberg. I forgot what his first name is or what the school was that he was a professor at. But Kent Hovind definitely won the debate. He actually engaged the debate topic. He made points. He refuted some of Dr. Weisenberg's points, and Dr. Weisenberg did not give any proof or counter-argument or a legitimate proof or counter-argument to Kent Hovind's points. In fact, he helped to prove some of Kent Hovind's points. Dr. Weisenberg was definitely rude. People came to the debate. People took their time to come to the debate, and he said he wasn't going to try to prove evolution. That's what the whole point of the debate is. It's rude to waste people's time like that, and or rude to accuse them of not being willing or intelligent enough to understand what the evidence is. If there's actually proof, he should have shown it. That was rude to accuse. By not trying to prove it, he was accusing the people that were there of not being intelligent or of not being sincere in coming to watch a debate. He was accusing them of just wanting to, of not being willing to listen. But maybe the other professors at that university who did not accept the invitation to come to the debate were being even more rude. I'm not sure. I'm undecided. I got an internal debate going on. Was it more rude of Dr. Weisenberg to come and be rude, or was it more rude of the professors who did not come? Not sure. But one of the things he said was, there are thousands of missing links that are all over. Well, if there are that many, he should have shown one. I have never seen a missing link. I have never seen that transitional fossil. And Kent Hovind proved Dr. Weisenberg wrong on that point by quoting believers in evolution who have had an honest moment when they said, I didn't include, one guy wrote books, and somebody asked him why he did not have pictures of missing links or transitional fossils in his book, and the person who wrote the book said, there are none, that's why I didn't put them in my book, or I knew about none, that's why I didn't put any in my book. One of the most ridiculous arguments that's made in favor of evolutionism and against the possibility that there is a God is, this many percentage of scientists say there is no God. This many percentage of scientists believe in evolution. The vast majority of scientists believe in evolution. But that's not a legitimate argument. Maybe on some issues that could be a legitimate argument. This many percentage of people believe this thing. But people have been fired, and people have tried to get people fired from jobs because of their belief their belief against evolution. Watch that great movie, Expelled No Intelligence Allowed, the documentary with Ben Stein. There's an example in there. So that's why so many high percentage of scientists believe evolution. It's because if they don't, they'll get fired. If they don't, they won't get any papers published. See, they don't believe it because it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. They have to say they believe it, or their jobs and livelihood is at stake. And this professor, at one point in the debate, said, if I had a student who did not understand this, I would flunk him. Bam! He just proved He just proved why his argument about so many percentage of scientists believe it is illegitimate. His students, if they don't believe, will get flunked by him. That is why. Kent Hovind makes an excellent point. In a communist country where there is no freedom of speech and political dissidents get sent to the gulag, or whatever that country's equivalent is of the gulag, some re-education camp, what percentage of teachers in the public schools in a country like that are going to be for capitalism, are going to say communism is a bad idea? An extremely small number. Does that mean they really believe that? Maybe there's some people in their heart who don't believe that, but they don't want to get fired and go to the gulag. And even if somebody doesn't believe in their heart, it's not a legitimate point that, 99% of people who will get fired if they don't say something, or have a realistic possibility of being fired if they don't say something, Or Kent Hovind, in this debate, he engaged in real science. Some people claim they're doing science when they're actually doing fancy storytelling, or repeating somebody else's storytelling. But real science is observing and measuring and testing. Some examples of real science that Kent Hovind engaged in this debate. He, back when the United States landed on the moon, we put some shiny things up there, and now the NASA, I think, is the agency. Now there are some scientists that use the scientific fact that you can measure how far away things are by shooting light at it, and if you've got fancy enough equipment, see when the light gets back. And that's what the technology that's used in laser rangefinders. Well, laser rangefinder shoots and then measures how long it takes for the beam to get back to it. And then if you know the rate of travel of that light, you've got your distance. Well, since we went to the moon has been steadily moving away from the Earth. That's a scientific fact that's not only in creation paperwork. It's in, non-creation. It's in what you could call scientific journals. So, at the rate that the moon is moving away, if the solar system is thousands of years old, it's not a problem. If it's billions of years old, the moon used to be touching the Earth and went through it. That's a problem. Oh yeah, and about people losing jobs and not getting published. Some scientists who are big believers in the religion of evolutionism, they get very mad at scientific evidence that contradicts it. And Kent Hovind gave an example. There's a man who realized that in granite there are polonium halos. When the granite was forming, there were radioactive particles in there shooting their radiation out. And it was when it was forming, so it was hard enough to catch it. If you throw a grenade into a moving river, it's going to be scattered all over. If you throw your grenade into gelatin, or if you throw it into a swimming pool, blow and then go down. If you throw a grenade into a large thing of gelatin, the gelatin will catch it. And the granite caught the radiation, or caught the reaction or evidence of this radiation. It is a scientific fact, and the man who found this was able to publish books, and people read his things until some people realized it disproved evolutionism, and then nobody would talk to him. Let's see. Kent Hovind cited the fact that the Earth is spinning more slowly. There was recently a leap second added to the calendar. In our current system of counting the days, we have a leap day every 4 years. We call it leap year, but we aren't adding a whole year. We add a day at the end of February because we actually take 365 and a quarter days to get around the sun. Well, scientists being scientists and measuring the rotation of the Earth, realized we slowed down by a second in a year's time and added a second to the calendar. Now, Kent wasn't doing the science there. He was quoting scientists engaging in science. Okay, observed speciation. Evolutionists like to use the word evolution, and they overuse it. They use this term microevolution as opposed to macroevolution, as if the two are the same thing, as if it's just a difference between a micro exercise session where I do one set of push-ups and only walk for 1 mile, and a macro exercise session where I am constantly doing some exercise for 4 hours. But they are two different things, so evolution should not be used. It's not accurate to use the word evolution to describe micro evolution. It's kind of like if I say that I fly when I jump because I micro-flew. No, that's not what flying is, and I shouldn't say I micro-fly when I jump because fly has a meaning. I shouldn't say that when I get on an airplane, the airplane macro-flies, and when I'm exercising or playing basketball, I micro-fly. I don't even jump high enough to... But maybe I shouldn't claim that because I don't jump high enough. But Michael Jordan doesn't even micro-fly. He jumps. But it's a proven fact. Yeah, animals make some slight changes. That's why there are differences between the rabbits in different places. There are slight differences between the deer in different places. The salamanders in Southern California and Northern California are different and might not even be able to interbreed anymore. But to say that the salamander and the human both separated from the same one-cell organism millions of years ago and say it's scientific, not just creative storytelling, to call it scientific and proven, you need to make that big of a change happen now so we can see that change. Kent Hovind points out, you can breed a lot of different kinds of dogs. Big dogs and little dogs, but they're still a dog. There are so many different kinds of corn that they actually have numbers for the corn species. But every time they do something to make a better corn, it's still corn. They haven't turned it into a redwood tree or a mouse. It's still corn. Okay, polystrate fossils. Yeah, one of the things that Dr. Weisenberg was saying was something like, it takes years and years of studying, so that's why I'm not going to try to prove it to you or show you any evidence. No. Now, it may take years and years of studying to find evidence, sometimes, or put it together, but you should be able to explain it, in a short amount of time. And if it's that hard to explain it, Dr. Weisenberg should have to spend his time focused on one specific evidence or subject, or sub-subject, and prove it to people instead of being rude and just saying, me, you're not a scientist. Or, that's not an exact quote, of course, that's a caricature. Polystrate fossils disprove the theory that each different layer of rock or sediment is something that took millions of years to do. That is science. That's being scientific. And it doesn't take a long time to explain it. It doesn't take a master's degree to understand. Here's a picture of a fossilized tree in a cliffside. Here's a layer, here's a layer, here's a layer. And the tree goes through all of them. Poly meaning more than one. Polygamy, polygon, polyamorous, poly means more than one. Strata, polystrate, straight is twisting the word strata because there are strata or layers. That's another way of saying a layer of dirt. When there's a fossilized tree going through more than one layer, that tree could not have been standing there for millions of years waiting to get fossilized. Trees don't do that. Dead wood rots. It may rot slower in some places or faster in others, but no dead wood, unprotected from the elements, is going to last for millions of years, while the next million-year layer is going to be built, and then the next million-year layer. Alright, and clam fossils. It's a scientific fact. Clams are held shut by their muscles, by their body. When a clam dies, the muscle holding the clam shut rots, relaxes, and you have two parts of the clamshell. Anyone who spent time on a beach has clamshells. There are beaches without clamshells. You can see that fact. That's a scientific fact. And there are fossilized clamshells fossilized in a closed position. That is a fact. Now, the only logical conclusion that I can come to is that Kent Hovind points out, those clams must have been buried quickly and fossilized, because they would have opened up if they had died and took millions of years to fossilize. If they did not die in a catastrophic event, like a worldwide flood. The Grand Canyon. Kent Hovind talked about the Grand Canyon. That one that's in northern Arizona. That's a part of Nevada too. Yeah. Northern Arizona. Maybe it touches on the other states near there. The exit of the Grand Canyon, the walls, the earth on the side of the canyon, near the exit of the Grand Canyon, is higher than the land where the Grand Canyon begins. That's a scientific fact. It's also a scientific fact that water goes down. It never goes up. It comes up as steam, but it never goes up as whole water without a geyser, or it doesn't go up a stream. Up the side of a mountain. It goes up if a geyser shoots it up. It goes up if a human puts it in some kind of a hose or spray bottle and sprays it up, or throws it up with their hand. So water would need to be going uphill to carve the Grand Canyon slowly over millions of years, where it is higher at the exit. There's really good evidence that there used to be two big lakes now. Lake Hopi, named after the Hopi Indians that lived there, and I forget what the other one's called. But there used to be two really big lakes now, upriver of the Grand Canyon, and what probably happened, the best scientific evidence we can come up with, is the dam, the natural dam to those lakes, broke from the pressure of all the water building up, and that rushing of water is what created the Grand Canyon. And those are my thoughts on this debate, where Ken Ham definitely won the debate. Did I say Ken Ham? Kent Hovind. I'm sorry. Kent Hovind won that debate. Kent Hovind made points, engaged in science and logic, and Dr. Weisenberg was rude to the attendees. But maybe the professors that wouldn't even come and debate were more rude. You have a good day.